Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear sisters and brothers. Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qulubuna ala dinik. O turner of hearts, keep our hearts firm upon your religion. Ameen ya Rab. We are now on episode number 8, and this one is all about the design of your future self, inshallah. My dear sisters and brothers, if you continue living exactly the way you are right now, where will you be in 5 years, inshallah? If you're alive, if I'm alive, where will we be in 5 years, right? Not where you hope to be, not where you plan to be, but where your current habits are, your current mindset, your current consistency. Where are they actually taking you? Because here's the truth many people avoid. You don't rise to your intentions. Rather, you fall to your patterns. So the real question is not, what do you want to become? The real question here is, what are you becoming right now? The majority of us have the default life. The default life. Most people don't design their lives. How many of you can agree with me? They just drift into them. They react to circumstances, emotions, people, trends. This becomes their default life. They wake up, they scroll through their phone, they go through the day, they respond to whatever happens, and slowly, without even realizing it, they become someone they never intentionally chose to be. Years pass by, and one day they sit there thinking, this is not the life I imagined. But it didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly. Small daily choices, unchecked habits, repeated distractions, and a lack of direction. So I want to share with you guys a deep insight by Ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah be pleased with him. He said, wasting time is worse than death because death separates you from the world, but wasting time separates you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the danger of drifting. You're not just losing time, you're losing direction, you're losing purpose, you're losing who you could have become. What does it mean now to live without awareness? What does that mean? Allah says in the Quran, He says, and let every soul look to what it has set forward for tomorrow. And this can be found in Surah Al-Hashr, ayah number 18. This ayah is not just about the akhirah. It's about awareness. It's about living consciously. Allah is telling you, pause, reflect, and look at your direction. Where are you going? Because your future is not something distant. It's coming faster than you can imagine. It is being built every day, right now, by what you're doing today. Two futures, same person, different direction. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment two people. They're the same age, the same background, the same potential. One lives randomly. He reacts to life, follows his comfort, has vague goals, delays responsibility, and the other one lives intentionally. He defines who he wants to be. He aligns his habits. He holds himself accountable. He reflects daily on everything he does. Now I want you to fast forward 5 years from now. The difference is massive. Not because one was more talented, but because one had direction while the other one drifted. The other one designed and the other one drifted. Now listen to this reflection from Imam al-Ghazali, may Allah be pleased with him. He said, the soul is like fertile land. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you plant distraction, you grow distraction. If you plant discipline, you will grow discipline. Your life is a result of what you repeatedly planted. Most people try to change their life by changing their actions, right? They say, I will start praying more, inshallah. I will be more productive, inshallah. I will stop wasting time, inshallah. But it doesn't last. Why, you may ask? Because the actions don't stick without identity. You see, Islam teaches us something deeper. You just don't do good. You become someone who does good constantly. You become someone who does good consistently. Okay? Instead of saying, I want to pray more, you say, I am someone who protects my salah. Instead of saying, I want discipline, you say, I am disciplined for the sake of Allah. Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, actions are the result of what is firmly rooted in the heart. That means your outward behavior is not random. It is not just about willpower, motivation, discipline in the moment. Instead, your actions are the fruit of something deeper inside of you. It's your belief, your beliefs, your identity, your values. That's what your actions shows your sincerity, your niyyah, and what your heart loves and prioritizes. So if something is firmly rooted in your heart, naturally it's going to show up in your behavior. Now think about it like a tree. Okay, I'm going to give you the example of a tree. A tree does not produce fruit randomly, right? The roots are your heart, the beliefs and identity. The trunk is your character, and the fruit is your actions. SubhanAllah. If the roots are strong and healthy, then the fruit appears naturally. But if the roots are weak and corrupted, then the tree may look fine for a while, but it collapses when it's tested. SubhanAllah. If your identity is weak, your actions will collapse with pressure. Think about that for a moment. This is where most people struggle. They try to act disciplined, they pray more, they study more, they try to stop their bad habits, and they try to become consistent, but they are doing it without a strong identity. They don't have that strong internal identity. So what happens? When pressure comes, so does the tiredness, the emotions, the stress, the temptation, and the distractions. Their actions break, not because they're lazy, not at all, but because there's no internal stability within them to hold all of those actions in place. Now, a real life example would be, someone says, I will never miss Fajr again, but they don't see themselves as someone who values Salah deeply, someone who fears missing Salah, someone who protects it no matter what happens. So when sleep gets heavy, that action collapses because the identity was never strong enough to support it. Does that make sense? Think about that for a moment. Let it soak in. Imam al-Ghazali, may Allah be pleased with him, said, the heart is the king and the limbs are the soldiers. If the king is weak, confused, or unstable, the soldiers, which is your actions, cannot stay disciplined. They scatter under pressure. But if your identity is strong, your actions will follow naturally, subhanAllah. This is the opposite state when something is deeply rooted in your heart. It stops feeling like a struggle. It becomes part of who you are. It becomes automatic over time. Not because life becomes easy, but because your internal direction is clear. So what does a strong identity look like? Instead of saying, I'm trying to be disciplined, it says, I am disciplined for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't miss my salahs, inshallah. I don't waste my time, inshallah. Now the action is no longer a debate. It is a reflection of identity. Even pressure doesn't break it easily, alhamdulillah. So when identity is strong, tired, you will still pray. Busy, you will still show up. Tempted, you will still resist, inshallah ta'ala. Not because you're a superhuman, but because your heart has already decided who you are. Ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, the heart, if it is attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing can detach it. That attachment becomes your stability. And stability becomes consistent action. Now the real difference between weak and strong identity is that weak identity is when someone says, I want to change, I should be better, I'll try again. And the strong identity says, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is not optional for me. One is temporary motivation, the other becomes permanent direction. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Why does this matter for self-sabotage? Why? You see, self-sabotage does not happen because people lack knowledge. It happens because identity is unclear. The heart is not anchored. Habits are not rooted in meaning. So when life becomes difficult, they revert back to comfort because comfort is still their default identity, right? I'm going to share with you what Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said. He said, you are not just what you do occasionally. You are what your heart has settled upon. And that is why real change is not there. You see, real change comes with actions, with motivation, right? It's rebuilding your identity, strengthening your heart, anchoring yourself in purpose. Now, what does the Quran have to say about this? The Quran talks about the law of transformation when He says, indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change with what is inside of themselves. This is in Surah Ra'd, ayah number 11. What is within themselves? Their beliefs, their mindset, their identity, their priorities. Real change is not external first, my dear sisters and brothers. It is internal. And when the inside changes, the outside follows. Because pause for a moment and ask yourself, who do you actually want to become? Slow down now and think deeply. If you could become your best version Islamically, what would that look like to you? How would you pray? How would you speak? How would you treat people? How would you use your time? How would you respond to hardships, to the tests and trials that Allah gives you? I want you to be real specific, because if you don't define it, you will never reach it. Now compare that version of yourself to who you are right now. That gap that you feel, that discomfort, that tension, that's not something to avoid. That's clarity. That gap is showing you exactly what needs to change. Hassan al-Basri, may Allah be pleased with him, said, the believer is a guardian over himself. He holds himself accountable for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That gap exists so that you can hold yourself accountable, my dear sisters and brothers. Not to shame you, but to guide you. The standard for a believer is living with ihsan. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to worship Allah as if you see Him. And if you do not see Him, know that He sees you. And this can be found in the book of Muslim. Now this is ihsan, the highest level of identity. Living with awareness, with presence, with excellence. This is not just worship. This is how your work, your speech, your thinking, and your living all come into effect. How do we go from dreaming to designing? You don't become your future self by wishing. You become it by defining it clearly, aligning all of your habits, repeating your actions daily. Most people stay stuck because they dream, but they don't design, subhanAllah. They want, but they don't build. Ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah be pleased with him, said, if you do not plan for your life, you will be consumed by what others plan for you. Meaning that if you don't design your path, if you don't design your own life and put a plan together, you will be pulled into someone else's. Now I'm going to share with you guys 5 practical steps in how to design your future self, inshallah. Take a pen and paper and write them down, inshallah. Define your identity clearly. Write it down, not as who you wish you were, but who you are choosing to become, inshallah. I am someone who protects their salah as if their entire day revolves around it. I am someone who seeks knowledge, not for status, but for transformation. I am someone who struggles against their nafs, even when no one is watching. I am someone who treats time as a trust, not something to be casually spent. This isn't motivation, it's your identity. And the identity shapes decisions when emotions fluctuate up and down. Number 2, choose 3 core habits. Not everything matters equally. Pick 3 habits that if you protect them would anchor your entire life. Because real change isn't built on intensity, it's built on continuity. Small actions done consistently reshape who you are at your core. You're not trying to do more. You're trying to become someone who does not break their commitments, inshallah ta'ala. Number 3, remove what contradicts you. You can't claim discipline while living in contradiction. Every distraction you tolerate is silently shaping you. Cut what weakens you. Cut it out. Remove it. Environments that normalize heedlessness. People who pull you away from growth. Habits that make you feel empty after they end. This isn't about restriction. It's about alignment. Number 4, track your consistency. What you ignore controls you. What you track, you confront. Even simple awareness creates pressure to improve. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for honesty. And at the end of each day, ask yourself, did I live in alignment with who I said I am? That question alone can rebuild your discipline. Number 5, make tawbah daily. You're going to slip. Not once, not occasionally, but repeatedly. But falling isn't failure. Staying down is. Tawbah isn't just about seeking forgiveness. It's about returning to your path of awareness. Every sincere return is going to strengthen you. Because the goal isn't to become someone who never falls. It's to become someone who always returns. Remember that you are not stuck. You are not fixed in one day. You are not just this way. You're constantly becoming someone, inshallah ta'ala. The only question is it intentional or is it accidental? One day, you will meet the version of yourself that your actions created. Not your intentions, not your plan, but your actions. So start building that someone. That someone that's going to make you be proud to meet, inshallah. And more importantly, that someone Allah Azza wa Jalla will be pleased to meet. Now I'm going to share with you guys a story. It's the story of Imam Malik. May Allah be pleased with him. Before he became one of the greatest Imams of Islam, before thousands sat in his gatherings, before his book Al-Mu'atta became one of the most respected works out there, Imam Malik was just a young boy in Medina. He had potential, but potential alone means nothing without direction. What was his turning point? What was his main turning point? He was a young boy. He once told his mom, he said, "Mom, I want to seek knowledge." Now pause here. Many people say that. Many people want that. But what happened next is what made the difference for Imam Malik. May Allah be pleased with him. His mother didn't just encourage him emotionally. She gave him direction. She dressed him in proper clothing. She placed a turban on his head, subhanallah. And then she said, "Go to Rabba ar-Ra'i and learn from his manners before his knowledge." That's powerful. She didn't say just go learn information. She said, build your identity first. Your character, your discipline, your presence. Build these things first, who you are. Because knowledge without identity does not last, subhanallah. Imam Malik didn't become great overnight. He didn't rush. He didn't chase recognition. He didn't build himself except slowly and intentionally. Now, think for a moment. He was known for his discipline in his time. He was respected for his knowledge, his strong character, his deep focus. Imam Ibn Qayyim comes and says that the foundation of knowledge is discipline and patience. And this is what Imam Malik, rahimahullah, was. Imam Malik lived this. He didn't just want knowledge. He built the habits that required for it. Extreme consistency is the real secret, my dear sisters and brothers. Imam Malik stayed in Medina his entire life. Think about that. No constant traveling, no chasing trends, no distraction. Just consistent learning, consistent teaching, consistent discipline. Day after day, year after year. And that's what built him. Not one big moment, but thousands of small intentional days. He had respect for knowledge, This was an identity in his actions. One of the most famous things about Imam Malik, rahimahullah, may Allah be pleased with him, was whenever he would teach a hadith, he would perform wudu, he would dress properly, he would sit with dignity, as if he was preparing for something big. SubhanAllah. Why? Because he wasn't just teaching. He had become someone who had honored knowledge deeply, and it showed with his actions. Imam Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, said, knowledge is not taken from four, and among them is one who does not have dignity. SubhanAllah, may Allah make us of those who have dignity. Ya Rab. What does that mean to you? Who you are matters more than what you know. How does this connect to you? Imam Malik's story teaches you something most people ignore. You don't become great through random effort. You become great through structured habits, through clear identity, through consistent discipline, day in and day out. What is the hidden lesson here for you and I? Most people today chase motivation. They start fast and they burn out quick. Yet Imam Malik did the opposite, subhanallah. He built slow, but he built solid. Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah, he said, a little that is consistent is far better than a lot that is interrupted. That's how legacies are built, slow and steady. Now let's look at your life right now, my dear sisters and brothers. You may not be studying hadith, but you're still building something every single day. How? Through your habits, through your discipline, through your focus. You're shaping who you are becoming. The real question here is, are you living randomly every single day that goes by, or are you building intentionally? Imam Malik didn't wake up one day as a great scholar, subhanAllah. Think about that. Didn't just wake up and say, wow. He became that person, mashallah, tabarakallah, by choosing daily to live like one. Before he was known as one. So if you want to become someone great, don't wait for the future. Start living like that person now. Now. Because your future self is being built by what you do today. Now, if this episode gave you clarity, if it opened any light bulbs inside of you, please share with someone who feels lost. Because many people are not lost in ability, they're lost in direction. Oh Allah, rectify my heart, for it is the foundation of my actions. If my heart is righteous, my deeds becomes righteous. And if my heart is corrupt, my deeds become corrupt. Oh Allah, do not let my outward be better than my inward, nor my inward corrupt while you see it. Rectify me from within so that my outward becomes upright. Ameen Ya Rab. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.